What if we told you that the cities of your dreams are becoming nightmares? Welcome to a world where the allure of iconic skylines, cultural landmarks, and boundless opportunities is shadowed by soaring living costs, environmental disasters, and economic strain. Ever wondered if the city of your dreams could actually be the city of your demise? Stick around as we count down the top 10 cities that are beautiful to visit but brutal to live in. Starting off with number 10, Rome, Italy. Renowned for its rich history, stunning architecture, and irresistible food. But behind the postcard-perfect facade lies a harsh reality. Rome's aging infrastructure is crumbling. Around 70% of its public transport services are reported to experience frequent delays, and road maintenance remains one of the worst in Europe. Public service strikes happening on average 6 to 8 times a year often paralyze daily life, coupled with stagnant wages averaging €1,500 per month. Rising rent costs, now around €1,200 for a one-bedroom apartment. You'll feel the weight of this city's charm on your wallet. Number 9, Sydney, Australia. Sydney, the land of sun, surf, and sky-high rent. The average monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the city centre is $2,500 Australian dollars, and then the utility bills that add another $200 to $300. A recent report shows home ownership rates have fallen to a 60-year low. On top of that, climate concerns such as water restrictions due to droughts and record-breaking heat waves, with temperatures exceeded 45 degrees Celsius last summer, making life here increasingly difficult. Add a 15% foreign buyer surcharge on property purchases, and moving to Sydney might make your savings evaporate faster than the city's reservoirs. Number 8, Singapore. Singapore is the poster child for efficiency and modernity, but it comes at a steep cost, with average rent for a two-bedroom apartment exceeding 3,500 Singapore dollars per month, combined with sky-high car ownership costs. And let's not forget the work culture. The average working week here stretches to 44 hours, with burnout rates climbing to an all-time high. Additionally, strict laws like heavy fines for chewing gum or smoking in public can make everyday life feel rigid. Number 7, London, United Kingdom. London, home to Big Ben, the Royals, and sky-high living costs. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in central London is a staggering £2,500 per month. Add the British weather, the grey skies and drizzle. Just adds an extra to its charm. Post-Brexit London is also grappling with economic uncertainty and a labor shortage that has impacted everything from restaurants to healthcare. Utility costs are soaring, with electricity and gas bills up by nearly 80% compared to pre-pandemic levels. For families, childcare costs average around £1,250 per month, leaving parents wondering if the city is worth the hustle. London might still be a global powerhouse, but for many of its residents, the city feels like a luxury playground they can barely afford. Number 6, Hong Kong. A city where East meets West, but its reputation as an expat haven is dwindling. Housing prices average 23,000 Hong Kong dollars per square foot, making it one of the least affordable cities globally. Meanwhile, new residency restrictions and the national security law have significantly reduced personal freedoms. The National Security Law of 2020 criminalized actions like protests, online opinions, and calls for independence. In 2024, a new law called the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance added more offenses, like insurrection, with punishments of life in prison. These laws do not only apply in Hong Kong, they target anyone, anywhere in the world, who criticizes the Hong Kong or Chinese government. This is the new Hong Kong, a city where freedom is disappearing. Number 5, Dubai. The city of gold comes with hidden costs. While salaries are tax-free, high housing costs, averaging 8,500 dirhams for a two-bedroom apartment, and soaring school fees for expat families are burdensome. Add to that strict residency rules, such as losing your visa within 30 days of job loss. And it's easy to see why Dubai's glitter loses its shine. Extreme summer temperatures, often exceeding 50 degrees Celsius, also test residents' resilience. Dreaming of Parisian wine and baguettes? Don't forget the fine print. You'll also get protests and smog. Number 4. Paris, France. The dream of romance, but the reality is far from dreamy. Sure, you want to be Emily in Paris, but Emily forgot to mention the 1,400 euros rent for a studio, while wages have stagnated at around 2,000 euros, and a 3-hour commute during a transport strike. And then there is the pollution. Pollution levels are rising, with the Seine often exceeding safe chemical thresholds, making Paris beautiful. But unless you're paid like a Netflix protagonist, you might just feel like a broke tourist instead. Moving on to our top 3s. You ready? Number 3. New York City. They call it the city that never sleeps, but with rent prices this high, it's probably because everyone's working 3 jobs. New York City continues to be a financial and cultural hub, but living here comes with growing restrictions and costs. In 2024, NYC approved a new congestion pricing law set to take effect in 2025. Under this law, vehicles entering parts of Manhattan below 60th Street during peak hours will face a toll ranging from $9 to $23 per trip. The policy aims to reduce traffic and fund improvements to the city's struggling subway system. But it's also a financial burden for residents and commuters. Combined with high rents, averaging $4,000 per month for practically a shoebox in Manhattan, and surging utility bills, the Big Apple is becoming increasingly inaccessible for middle-class families. Additionally, stricter regulations on short-term rentals have made it harder for landlords to offset high property taxes, which average over $10,000 annually for homeowners. Living the Carrie Bradshaw dream? Sure. Until you realize these $20 cocktails and $4,000 rent leave no room for those Jimmy Choos. In reality, you'll be carrying the weight of student loans and sky-high rent. And if you are a parent, don't worry. Applying for kindergarten in NYC feels like auditioning for America's Got Talent. Except the judges are even harsher, and your 4-year-old has to be fluent in French, for example. Yeah, New York sounds so dreamy. Number 2. San Francisco. The tech capital of the world. San Francisco's challenges are mounting, with new resident restrictions amplifying the strain. In 2025, the city implemented a vacant property tax, charging landlords up to $5,000 annually for units left unoccupied for more than 182 days a year. This law was introduced to combat the city's growing housing crisis, where homelessness has surpassed 8,000 people. But it's also increasing costs for property owners and discouraging investments in housing. Additionally, San Francisco's urban mobility access fees now charge a $3 to $5 surcharge for ride-hailing services, like Uber and Lyft entering specific downtown zones, making daily commuting more expensive. For renters, the already exorbitant cost of a 1-bedroom apartment, averaging $3,700 per month, combined with increasing utility rates and a 5% rise in property crimes, is pushing many to reconsider life in the Bay Area. Number 1. The City of Angels. Los Angeles tops the list, not only for its cost of living, but also for the growing restrictions affecting residents. In 2025, LA faced its biggest wildfire yet, the Palisades Fire, consuming over 23,000 acres, destroying nearly 3,800 structures and taking at least 10 lives. Over 105,000 residents were forced to evacuate, with many still uncertain when or if they'll return home. Rising insurance premiums, up 30% in wildfire-prone areas, are making it almost impossible for families to rebuild. And with drought-driven water usage surcharge hitting $300 extra per month during peak season, and as of this year, life here feels more like survival than sunshine. Traffic woes also continue to plague Angelenos, with the city expanding its road pricing program, now charging vehicles $4 to $7 to use express lanes on major freeways. Meanwhile, homelessness, estimated at over 75,000 people in LA County, has prompted new zoning laws. On top of that, we have the non-stop rising of overall cost of living in everything. Food, gas, taxes, a real nightmare. So, Do you still dream of moving to these cities? Or are you ready to rethink your bucket list? If you have an experience living in one of these places, share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. Subscribe now and join us as we explore the highs and lows of life around the world.